We're back to the Neil Haley Show, and this is the Total Celebrity segment, and I am excited to talk to this guest. I remember her from Weird Science and much, much more. Kelly LeBrock. Kelly, thanks for calling. How are you?
I'm great, Neil. How are you? How's Pittsburgh?
Oh, Pittsburgh is dreary, Kelly. I don't know what's up with
Pittsburgh isn't the pits. It's actually really a cool place. You've done a wonderful job with downtown. It looks spectacular.
Oh, Pittsburgh's great now, but meaning the weather. Yeah.
Oh,
isn't it amazing?
Well, that's the pits.
Yeah, that's the pits. Yes, the pits have been the pits. 70-degree weather. August, that's crazy. But yeah, Kelly, Pittsburgh is just really developed, and it's a great town for sure. And yeah, we're excited to chat with you. Question wanted to run right by you, Kelly, is when you were a supermodel, did you think you were going to get those opportunities in film that you were able to get that are so iconic like that you did? Did you think that when you were a supermodel, that you have those opportunities?
I didn't think anything when I was a supermodel. I was just busy trying to survive. I mean, I worked every day. I went from one job to another. It was just one sort of big blur. And actually, I could have had an even bigger career. I turned down many, many movie opportunities all along the way from 15 and a half to before I got Woman in Red. And I'm surprised that I even got Woman in Red because I was telling Gene Wilder that he needed to hire Kim Basinger and a bunch of other people. So I fought very hard to not be famous. It's a miracle that I ever did become famous.
It's interesting. You fought to to not be famous, and
yeah, I really didn't. I didn't care to be famous. I loved acting when I was a young girl in school, but I never really dreamt or worked hard to try and be famous. No, absolutely, it was the other way around, actually.
Wow, and can you imagine how people just still remember you from Weird Science and the Women in Red? I'm sure you have those conversations all the time.
Yeah, most of them are all wearing Depends now. That was so long ago. It seems like another lifetime ago, what with social media and how everything has changed from when I was doing, the modeling and the acting. Like my daughter's in this now, and it's not how many people are watching your show. It's how many followers you have or how many tweets you make or blah, blah, blah. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it's changed, definitely. And I don't think that everyone in the business has figured this out yet, Kelly, meaning the actors, actresses, or even producers, directors, or even the big higher-ups yet, that it is social media, and it's unbelievable. So now what we're talking about now is, again, Growing Up Supermodel, which will be on Wednesday, and I wanted to talk to you specifically about your daughter. And the whole premise of the show is that they have supermodel blood, but yet it's a challenge for them to be in your shadow, right? Look at, that was Kelly LeBrock, and now get out there and do what you were doing.
Well, we're all individuals, and nobody can repeat what the parent did. And like I said, these are completely different times, and Arissa is a completely different person to who I was when I was modeling. When I was modeling, I was kind of an idiot, and I had no self-respect. I didn't have the balls that my daughter has. My daughter is a full, solid human being with no filter. She's one of the nicest and best people I've ever met, and she's going to make a lot of young women feel good about who they are with what they have and not what they think they need to have. Arissa's very comfortable in her own skin, and I really admire her for taking the challenge to be the only plus-size model in Growing Up Supermodel. I really admire her for her strength and her courage at being happy with who she is, and she's absolutely gorgeous and stunning, and way more of a whole person than I was when I was modeling. And it's just been interesting watching these kids. We started filming in February. There's 6 kids. They're all children of, sort of celebrities. It's been interesting watching them grow and change and become more insecure. And I think that America is going to enjoy watching these kids and their journey and the parents' involvement and how parents interfere or try and, make our kids feel better about themselves. I think it's a great little show, actually. I'm impressed with the people that they have on it. They have Ricky Schroeder's two beautiful daughters, Krista Allen, who was on Baywatch. We have her son. There's Beverly Peel, who was a big supermodel in the 90s. Her daughter, Cairo's on it. And Atiana La Jolla, who is Oscar de La Hoya's daughter. So it's an interesting mix of people, and I think that it'll be quite entertaining. I said that I would never do reality TV again, but here I am. Never say never.
Now, Kelly, would you also see that most of these kids are grounded, even though they had such famous parents in a lot of ways, from seeing all them, working with all of them throughout the shoot?
Grounded? I would, it's hard to find anybody that's grounded today. It's such a strange world we're all living in. Nobody talks to each other. They're all on their phones all the time. I think that they're basically all pretty damn good kids. I don't see anybody throwing tantrums. I think that they're all nice people, and I think that America will see that as well.
Have to do and deal with that.
Hello.
Famous, I'm there, Kelly. The famous celebrity type thing, Kelly. What I see is that it's going to be hard on them, and that's what we're going to learn in this show. Is that they always go back to who their parent was, right? In certain ways.
Well, ultimately, yes, that they will be recognized for who their parents are. But I think that the stronger the child is, the more that they will pull away from that name. I think if you have it, you have it. Just because your parents are celebrities, it's not a given. In fact, it can be a curse. It can be even harder because of who your parents are. But I think that these kids are all very interesting, and I think that they will show their own dynamics. And I think it'll be interesting watching the famous parent get involved with the kids that are trying to be famous. I think it's an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, and to know what they're doing currently as well, like you, Kelly, who you didn't want to be famous, yet you became famous, and then now, where are you now? That thing. So are you on social media, Kelly? You started talking about how things have all changed. Are you on social media?
I'm sort of on social media. I have people that do it for me. Sometimes I if I have something I want to say, I will tweet or whatever that thing is. I won't do, I have Facebook. I won't do that face thing where you can make a phone call and you can see yourself. I don't want to have to do my hair for a phone call. That's why I love radio. But it's definitely a different world, and I've been hiding for quite a while, and I think it's time to come out and have some fun, and I think it's really been great for me to do that with my youngest daughter, because she's wonderful. I'm very, very proud of her.
All right, well, fantastic. I'm sure we'll be able to find you on social media again Wednesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 Central on Lifetime, and everyone needs to check out, again, Growing Up Supermodel. Thanks for calling, Kelly, and interesting story to know what's going on with you, and best of luck with this venture, okay? Hope everything goes well with your daughter,
you,
okay? All right,
Have a beautiful day.
See ya.
Okay,
take
bye-bye.
Care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. You're listening to The Neil Haley Show, and we'll be back.
Hi, everyone, and we're back to The Neil Haley Show on the Total Celebrity segment. I'm excited to welcome the program. We all know him from The Bachelorette, Season 12 on ABC. Bachelor of Paradise's Vinny, Ventiera. Vinny, thanks for calling. How are you?
Well, I like being called a celebrity this early in the morning.
It's interesting. Oh, you like being called a celebrity, but come on now, Vinny. How much do you get recognized on the street all the time of people thinking about The Bachelorette? You know how many people watch that show, and you just walk down the street and say, and probably get different comments, right? When people come and say, do I know you, right?
Yeah, it's a good feeling. We definitely get recognized. It's cool, life could be worse.
Well, what's the reason for always going in these matchmaker type stuff? You do other deals as well, and you're trying to find the special one, right? Vinny, is it just this is about you? Is, hey, I got to find the right person for being involved in a lot of these different shows? Yeah.
Yeah, it all started going on The Bachelorette. I think we filmed it about a year and a half ago, and it was something totally out of my realm of what I'm used to doing. A, being on a TV show, and B, putting my love life on a TV show. So it's been an interesting almost 2 years, year and a half. And then, the first time I went on The Bachelorette, I wasn't too successful with, finding love on that show. And then I went on Paradise, and then I kind of, got the ball rolling there with the girl that I was dating, and then things didn't work out. And then I'll be back for I guess you can say a fourth time on television, back on this season of Paradise, which airs Monday. So you will know my status by the end of this month.
Now, and that's going to be exciting. And you just know people just love these shows on ABC, right? And Vinny, and what does your family members think of this? Especially you being on TV all the different time looking for love. What do they think about it?
They love it. They know that I have a good head on my shoulders and that I have good judgment, that, I wouldn't put myself in a situation that I didn't really feel comfortable about. And my mom, loves it. She actually has made a little name for herself because she had some airtime on the Bachelorette and also on Patty's $1 Million Matchmaker. So, as much as people recognize me, they recognize her, and they know she is a strong influence on my life. So I'm glad that she can be a part of it.
And how does it feel? Let's just talk about The Bachelorette and certain things where you think you're going to find love and then it just doesn't happen. Is it different being on television where your life is being filmed and trying to establish a relationship and stuff than, the average everyday of let's go out on a date and stuff and let's call, and it's a different feeling, isn't it? Getting on TV.
It definitely is a different feeling, but it's put at such I don't want to say pressure because that could be taken as a wrong word, but there is a lot of pressure because you do have the person that you're trying to date, you do have their producer, you have your producer, and you also have 3 cameras watching you. So going on a date on a television show is a lot harder than actually going on a date in real life, because it's just when you're on a date in real life, you're just wow, I'm having a conversation with you and not 6 other people listening. So I guess after that you kind of feel that you can go on a date anywhere with anyone.
Did you when you go on dates on TV, how much more is your mind racing to make sure you ask the right questions, because you don't want to ask the wrong question, or oh my gosh, people are going to just be on me forever for this and it'll live forever. That
is you're also fighting the fact of that you don't want to sound stupid because you're nervous talking to a female on a date for the first time, but you're also wondering, and then you're also worrying about that there's millions of people watching every single word that you say, so it does definitely get a little nerve-wracking.
So do you hear? I know our listeners out there want to know, between all these shows, have you dated other women, and what do they think when you try to meet a girl somewhere and you're dating them? They know that you've been on these TV shows. I haven't really had time outside of these dating shows to I guess you could say date somebody that's not within the the TV franchise, because it's kind of been back to back since last March, and plus I travel a lot, so I haven't really dated outside of that, the TV world. But I have here and there, nothing crazy. But once you go on these television shows, like you said, people do recognize you, so you're not really trying to date somebody that recognizes you, for Vinny from the TV show. You want to date somebody that wants you for you. And luckily, people use the word edit. I got a great edit, and I was true to myself, and, people recognize how real I was. So, that only helped me in a positive way in the dating world. Interesting, and now you're a brand, Vinny. As I said, you're a celebrity, and you're a brand. So basically, going out to these different events, doing these different things, you gotta change the way you think before you're on these dating shows. You have to have a different mindset because you're representing the different television networks, and you don't know if TMZ is going to hit you up or paparazzi. So you got to really be careful in certain ways.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care as much as representing the networks. I just care about representing myself in the right way,
Hey, I'm trying to keep you in that PR. Remember, whatever. You got to keep moving forward. Maybe you'll be hosting a show someday, Vinny. They're already preparing. They're already looking for the next person to host some television show. Trust me, I know this the way this business works.
Yeah,
so
no, I know.
What should we expect for Monday? You can't give us any clues except that's going to be interesting. Your process on the show, right?
No, it's going to be good. You know, and I'm excited to go back. You know, I was a little weary at first about going back. But, you know, there is the obvious whole thing with, like, Corinne and DeMario drama that happened, you know, that will be addressed, I think, pretty early in the season premiere. I think it's a 2-night premiere, which is always pretty cool. And yes, I will be there. You know, there was, you know, the drinks were flowing, the sun was hot, and, you know, when you mix those two together with young adults, things get a little out of hand, and they do. So, and America will see that on Monday and Tuesday.
Absolutely. So August 14th and 15th on ABC, Bachelor in Paradise. Best place we can find information on you, Vinny. Where can we go? Are you on Twitter?
Oh, I got my yeah, of course. I got everything. Instagram, Twitter, Vinny Vinsane. You can check out my latest DJ gigs, and I'm touring across the U.S. right now. So if anybody wants to keep it locked, at Vinny Vinsane.
Well, see, Vinny, that's what I'm talking about. You're a brand. Remember that. So you know that, and you're capitalizing on your fame so that you can make money. Because always, it's not the show; it's continuing brand awareness afterwards, and you're doing that, Vinny. So best of luck. We got to tune in Monday and Tuesday, and thanks for calling. I appreciate it.
Take care.
See ya. Okay, bye-bye. You're listening to the Neil Haley Show, and we'll be back in just a moment.
We're back to the Neil Haley Show on the Total Celebrity segment, and I'm always excited to have this guest on the program. So I'm excited to welcome the program co-host of American Ninja Warrior, Akbar Gbajabiamila. Akbar, thanks for calling, and you know what? Every time I get a chance to chat with you, I know you're so pumped up about each season of American Ninja Warrior. It must be so much fun to cover.
You know, it really is, and to me, I think it's a big deal that I get a chance to do something and have fun doing it. You know, I can't believe that I'm actually getting paid to do. You know, Matt and I get paid to go out there and cheerlead, but that's what it is. Essentially, I'm a cheerleader. I said it. I'm a cheerleader. That's right. But I love the stories. You know, these stories are, I think, stories that I can relate to. You can relate to. Everyone can relate to because. You know, you talk about American Ninja Warrior, and I think what separates it from a lot of different, you know, competition shows is you really get to know the competitors. But not only do you get to know them because they're either you or someone that you know. And that's the part of it. And there's a human side to it where you get to champion for the competitors who are going out there, and you get to cheer them on as they're running the course.
And every year it's a surprise, right? Akbar, it's not always the same people. There are some that constantly are doing really well, but there's all these new stories every time that you cover this.
That's right. And this year we did something different. Half the competitors this year, new stories. And we wanted to be able to showcase more of our new competitors so people could understand, you know, just how big it is and just how many people are involved. There are a lot of people who come out and compete on American Ninja Warrior. You know, in qualifying round, for example, we'll have 120 come out and compete, but not very many can get far. But this year, because of the explosion of the show and the ninja gyms popping around, we've had an opportunity to get more competitive ninjas coming out there and compete. But it brings out the best. Tonight, we're in Cleveland, and I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you this story, but we're in Cleveland, and the biggest planet on the earth, LeBron James and his family, they show up to the set, and they come out there, and they are, like, in awe of it. And his 12-year-old son was itching to get on actually, both of his kids were itching to get on the course, so we let him on the course. And his 12-year-old made it all the way up the warp the wall. LeBron James, and this took place during the NBA Finals. LeBron James had a game the next day, and he's there, and he was excited. I think, whoa, LeBron, I think they need you for the Finals. I think they need you for the Finals, man. But that's how excited he was to want to get out there and get on the course. And when you get a guy like LeBron James who respects the course, who respects the competitors. That's what I call game recognized game. And tonight we have Jesse Flex LeBrock. We have Alyssa Beard, 5th grade teacher, who's just been outstanding. Najee Richardson, who exploded onto the scene last year. And, you know, the Flying Phoenix, I mean, he has come out and he's really showed up. So I can't wait to see what he does tonight and for you guys to get to really understand how big it is for a guy to compete under that type of pressure, you know, coming off of a big year last year. Not everybody can handle that pressure. But that's why I get excited. And people say, Akbar, when you get excited like that, is it authentic? Heck, yes, it's authentic. And I'll tell you why. I mean, I played in the NFL, but I wasn't a Hall of Famer. I'm not a Hall of Famer. And oftentimes what I realize is that if you take, for example, the New York Giants, Odell Beckham is the main guy there. You take the New England Patriots, Tom Brady is the main guy there. But there are all these other guys, 52 other guys who work their butts off who may not get necessarily the recognition. And I feel like I'm the voice of the blue-collar workers. And a lot of those ninjas that you see are blue-collar workers. 5th grade teacher Alyssa Beard, I mean, in her everyday life, she doesn't get that type of recognition. But how important are teachers in our everyday life? They're majorly important. I can name every single one of my teachers from 1st grade all the way until I got to high school. I can name them all. I don't remember a lot of my professors in college, though, but no disrespect to professors out there.
Well, you had some great mentors to get you where you are today, Akbar, and it's such a great point. The people who compete on this show are the average everyday people. They're not, you know, they're athletic, but yet they have a dream, and they have a dream to win in the finals. And that now you're opening it up to more and more people that are talented ninjas, so that you never know who is going to win in Vegas, right? Because again, with the more competition, you never know.
Yeah, you really never know. I mean, and you said it. You know, they are ordinary, but they do extraordinary things when they get out on that ninja course. And, you know, I've had the great privilege. We just had the Pro Football Hall of Fame last week, and we saw LaDainian Tomlinson, who I played with in 2006. Jason Taylor, who I played with for the Miami Dolphins in 2007. We have Terrell Davis, who I had a chance to watch when I was in college. Kurt Warner, who I played against. I mean, Kurt Warner is a magic star. I think people love Kurt Warner. If you're not familiar with him, of course, Super Bowl winning quarterback for the St. Louis Rams, played with the Cardinals. But people love his story because he was a story of a guy who came from behind, was bagging groceries, was never given a college scholarship, and went on, had an opportunity to play in the NFL, got his first opportunity because Trent Green gets hurt, and then turns out to be a Pro Football Hall of Famer. Where else does that happen? Well, you see a lot of those stories on American Ninja Warrior. And so where I've been around a lot of fantastic athletes and played with some of the greats. I played with Jerry Rice. I mean, big-name guys I played with. But I'm telling you, I am more impressed, and I'm not saying this because I'm on the show. I'm more impressed with the athletes that I see on American Ninja Warrior than I was with the great athletes that I played with. True story.
That's fantastic. Yeah, and that's what's so exciting about the show. New stars are developed. I think that what NBC is able to do with two shows like American Ninja Warrior, America's Got Talent, those types of shows bring people that finally get their shot, finally get it. They want to be recognized. They work so hard, and they finally have that stage, either on the athletic stage or the performance stage, Akbar, and get that shot that maybe they never would have if it wasn't for NBC and giving those opportunities. That's how I see those two shows and how yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you know, look, I think at the core of all of us, one of our primal needs is we all want to matter. And we want to matter in how we raise our kids. We want to matter in how we love people. I mean, I think, you know, even you look at our society today and you see everything that's going on in the last couple of days over in Charlottesville. You know, I think people are out there fighting to figure out, to realize, like, hey, we matter. We're telling the opposition that, look, you know, despite how you may feel about me, look, I'm no different than you are. And I think that's what we showcase on American Ninja Warrior. We show the variety of competitors. We show that our competitors, they come in different ages, sizes, gender. I mean, they come out there at different races, and we come out there and they come together for one common goal. And I think that's something America could take in. coming in together for one common goal. Despite our differences, we're all different, but that's okay. But we're the same. We're all the same. Like when you watch these competitors, I think people fall in love with them because they look at, say, wow, I'm either that person or I know that person. And, that's the beauty of American Ninja Warrior. Some of the competitors that you see tonight are competing under tremendous duress. I mean, we're talking about personal issues and things that they've had to work through. And you'll see those stories tonight on NBC with American Ninja Warrior. And you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. And it's a great time, too, as a country, showcases a sore spot in Charlottesville. I think you can come together and watch an American Ninja Warrior and remember that humanity is really good. Like, it's not all that bad, So that's what I love about the show as well. There's not a lot of shows out there where you can sit and watch together as a family. I've got kids who range from 5 years old all the way to 16-year-old, and we can all sit together and watch the show.
That's amazing. Okay, so again tonight, tune in 8 p.m. Mondays, American Ninja Warrior. Check out the Cleveland finals today, and thanks again for calling, Akbar. We can connect with you on social media, all different places, right? For sure, right?
Yes, that's right. It's Akbar_Bajan, all the platforms, and then it's just my full name for Facebook.
All right. Thanks, Akbar. Take care. Thanks for calling.
Thank you. All right.
All right, take care. Bye-bye. You're listening to the Neil Haley Show, and we'll be back in just a moment.
This is the Neil Haley Show. We're live again here at Idiot Radio Studios at Brookline Pub, 734 Brookline Boulevard. And I got from INSP, the Cowboy Way, Alabama. Do I have all of the guys on the line? Bubba, Cody, and Chris. Are you guys all on the line?
You got Cody.
Cody, you're on, and Chris and Bubba, are you all three? Are you on?
Cody and Bubba are on. I'm Bubba and Cody's on the line. We're waiting on Booger. He's probably out on the back side of the fence working on something.
Okay, so we just have Bubba and Cody on. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes. All right. Well, let's just jump right into it. Okay. So now, guys, I watched the trailer, and I'm going to go first with Bubba. Tell us specifically how you got this opportunity, because I really like the fact of your faith. I like the fact that you're trying to show cowboys in a specific way. So tell me a little bit about that.
Booger Brown.
Oh, so Booger is on. So we got all three. Okay. Well, let's go to Bubba first. Go ahead, Bubba.
Neil, several years ago, back in 2012, I was on a dating show called Sweet Home Alabama. And long story short, I went all the way down to the end as a runner-up, and I got to become really good friends with the producer of the show. And I actually got on that show because Cody was on the same show a couple seasons prior. And anyhow, the producer, he really started liking Cody and myself, and he came down and visited with us for a little while and saw the lifestyle that we lived and saw the business that we did, and he just enjoyed it. And he's from out in Los Angeles, and he loves the cowboy western lifestyle. And that's how this all came about. So he wanted to come down here and film a show about our business and what all we did for a living, and just the lifestyle of a cowboy.
Wow. And Cody, kind of define for me what the lifestyle of a cowboy is, because again, we have different perceptions of cowboys.
Booger the other day, we was talking, all of us were talking about, Booger made a good point, like, you don't have to be born a cowboy, born into the ranch to be a cowboy. And really, in my opinion, it's not something like we really do. It's who we are. It's how we, it's a state of mind, really. A cowboy, in my opinion, if you watch the old westerns, they always stand up for what's right, even if it leads to their death. Like in the movie Lonesome Dove, Captain and Gus hung their best friend Jake for riding with outlaws. You know what I mean? So, people think you have to have a bunch of horses or 1,000 head of cattle to be a cowboy. That's just not true, man. And then you do have those folks who think just because they wear a hat they're a cowboy, and that's not true either. So I think a cowboy really tells you who you are as a person. And, we love our animals just as much as we love our own kids. So that has a lot to do with it.
And Chris, who we call Booger, first tell us, Chris, how you got that nickname Booger.
Oh, the Booger Monster when I was a child. I was into everything, and I certainly lived up to the expectations of the name, I believe. It's just, I was always doing something. They got to call me a little booger. Next thing you know, my granddaddy caught wind of it, and when he started calling it booger, it pretty much stuck with me. He used to give everyone I knew a nickname. My friends from high school, family members, everybody got a nickname around my granddaddy.
Cool, for sure. Now, Bubba, what should we expect? Again, the premiere is August 10th, Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. What should we expect?
Yes. expect some good, wholesome family, clean fun, and it's a good story about our lifestyle, a day-to-day operation, and how we work hard together as a team to provide for our families, and most importantly, we thank the good Lord above for all these opportunities that we've received.
Absolutely. And Cody, let's kind of go to you in a way. Are you hesitant of a reality show? You know, you and Bubba have some experience in that process. I know INSP does a tremendous job with their original programming. Is there any concerns of showing your lifestyle on television, or this is the perfect platform for you?
You know, honestly, if the world needs to see it, you know, and I'm not a very look at me kind of person, never have been. But I've always I've rodeoed my whole life, so you're kind of on the stage, and to an extent, if you're at a rodeo, I mean, you're pretty much a specialty act, and people are paying to come watch you. So, but for my life and our life and our family's lives to be on TV, of course, it's kind of worrisome sometimes. But really and truly, man, people need to see what we do. People need to see that there's still people out there in the world that care. People need to see there's still people out there that pray and aren't scared to talk about God, aren't scared to talk about family, aren't scared to stand up for what's right. People need to see it, and I think we can do it and show it to them.
That's fantastic. And Chris, the kind of directing the same question to you in a way, you those two had some experience on television. What about you and putting yourself on TV in front of, telling that story?
You know, it's been 4 years, since we've been working on this. We had another show one time. It hit on Nat Geo just for a short period. We never got a season out of it. So it's been a long time coming, and I've been on, working, trying to make what we finally created here for a long time. So it's kind of like the TV business is, the camera's sort of getting old to me. It started coming second nature. But I think it's excellent for people to see what we're doing. There's so many cowmen, so many cowboys, and so many people in this world that work so hard every day for what they own and what they receive, and what they that never get no glory, it's not glorified. Even with a cowboy, it's never glorified. Even the guys like the rodeo cowboys, they ride all year and all this heartache and hard work and being broke and highs and lows just to get to the national finals. Well, they get that 1 week. They're in the spotlight. Other than that, it's sweat and tears the rest of the time. And it's really an honor to get to show what we do every day and how hard working men work.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the cowboy life, especially somebody who's not a huge outdoors person. I'm 6'10", 270 pounds, so I can handle myself. But how much work is it to do what you do on a daily basis, Bubba?
Well, we're all in agreement that the work never stops. I mean, we get up several hours before daylight, go out and catch our horses, get them saddled up, get our figure out what we left off yesterday, and just try to go at it. And like we say, we go to the office, but the pasture is our office, or a set of cow pens, or loading cow trucks. So it's a never-ending journey. Like I said, we don't ever find we don't ever quit.
Yeah, and the never quit attitude is such an important. So you're saying you get up 2 hours before daylight. So what time would that be? I'm looking at my questions and where I'm going next in direction. Who's the next person? Oh yeah. So Cody, what time in the morning do you guys get up?
It all varies, but obviously because the sun comes up and goes down at a different time throughout the year. Time change and all, but. Right now this time of year, it's 4:30, quarter till 5 for me, for myself, and the people, especially on a TV show, they'll see the glory side of the work. They'll see the riding through the pastures and cattle and stuff like that, and I hope they show a lot of it. They don't see the true nitty-gritty stuff that never gets shown. I was like getting under a tractor, changing the oil, or greasing something, or fixing a feed hopper, you know what I mean? I mean, just if you get done doing one thing, there's always something that needs to be fixed. A fence, the truck radiator. The list goes on forever. I mean, it's never, all right, boys, we're done today. It's lunchtime. Let's go home and watch TV. I mean, that's just not the way it is at all. Now,
Chris, being an expert cattleman,
feel free to call me Booger.
Booger. Okay, Booger. Expert cattleman. Tell me specifically how to become an expert cattleman for somebody listening to the show. I've had interesting stories about a salsa dancer today on the show to singers, but always providing that talent. But how to become an expert cattleman? How do you do that?
Well, if you want to be a pro football player, You want to be a pro skateboarder? You want to be a movie star? Anything. I've always said if you're going to make it, you can't fake it. You got to live it.
That's awesome.
And that sums it up.
That's great advice. I love the advice for sure.
You got to live what you're doing.
Yeah,
definitely. You can't go in it half-hearted. You'll never succeed. And when you get knocked down, you know, you got to get back up and go at it even harder. And that right there is what scars you up on the inside and out, makes you who you are. And you got to be tough. I mean, I'm not talking about being able to take blows from cows running you over and stuff. You got to be able to handle that, but you got to be tough-hearted, and you got to try. And the financial end of it, I mean, it's a struggle. Every day is a struggle, you know. All
right, so guys, got to check out The Cowboy Way, Alabama. It premieres Thursday, August 10th at 8 p.m. Eastern. And where's the best place we can connect with you guys? Are you guys on social media that people can connect with you?
Yes, sir. Bubba Thompson on Facebook, Cody Harris on Facebook, and Chris Booger Brown on Facebook. No, sir. Booger Brown. Just Booger Brown. Booger Brown. But we've got personal pages and fan pages and Instagrams as well. And we're pretty easy to look up. We're generally sitting there in a cowboy hat or sitting on the back of a horse on our profile page.
All right.
And we'll be doing a Facebook Live talk August 10th after the premiere. We'll be having INSTs hosting a Facebook Live thing for all three of us. If anybody has any questions, any comments, and if there's any haters out there, people don't think it's the real deal, we invite them to come. Hey, spend a day with us and see what we do. We'd sure like to show you that it is for real. This ain't no made-up Hollywood nonsense.
Well, we'll definitely check it out, guys. Thanks for calling, and I may have to put you up on that and say I'll come out to Alabama and see you guys sometime. But good talking to you, all three of you, and best of luck with the show.
Thanks for having us.
All right, take care, guys.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, bye-bye. Right. You're listening to the Neil Haley Show, powered by Idiot Radio Studios, live at the Brookline Pub, 734 Brookline Boulevard, and we'll be back in just... Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Neil Haley Show. You can check me out on Twitter at TotalTutor and NeilHaley.com. And I'm excited to welcome the program from the Blue Man Group. When I think of the Blue Man Group, it's like an iconic thing to me, and I just think of them all the time in specific commercials and different things since they've come out, and I'm excited to welcome the program one of the members, Matt Ramsey. Matt, thanks for calling. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely, Matt. And it's definitely an interesting thing when you tell people that you're a member of the Blue Man Group, right? When you talk to people on the street or you're just, you're not in character and you tell people, and then what are their thoughts at first, thinking about it, when they're the first sighting and different things of the Blue Man Group, when you tell them you're part of that?
Yeah, when I tell people what I do for a living, I have become used to saying I'm a performer, as opposed to, hey, I'm in a show right now. I don't lead off with Blue Man Group because sometimes it's so difficult to describe it. I love to talk about it. Don't get me wrong. I love talking about the character. I love talking about the show and the joy it brings people. And it's really a thrill to be able to perform in it. But it is so hard to describe what it is, And so when people ask me, what do you do? When it comes around to, I'm Blue Man and Blue Man Group, they either have two reactions. One's like, I love that show. I've seen it before. Fantastic. And they have lots of questions, of course. Or the other one is, that's, they kind of tilt their head and go, what's Blue Man Group? That sounds interesting. And then I have to do what I've done so many times, and I still struggle through it, is describe what in the world Blue Man Group is. I'm getting better at it, and of course it's a wonderful show, and I just describe to them that it's a performance that incorporates humor and pop culture, and rock music, and a euphoric kind of dance party, bringing all kinds of strangers together. And bring them in an environment of tight connection through this character that doesn't speak and is covered in blue paint and is bald.
So
that's when it gets. That's just when the conversation gets really interesting if they have no preconception of the show or if they've never seen the character and that sort of thing. But it's really fun to talk about it.
So tell me the history of the Blue Man Group.
Well, it started a long time ago with these three close friends. They were friends in school. In fact, two of them, I think, their friendship went back to high school. So they'd known each other for years and years before this sort of project, what it's become now, sort of took its form. in the early days, they were just three friends, and there was a lot more of this core group of creative people in New York City who were very involved and interested in pop culture and literature and art and music. But they were also, curious about what made certain things popular in our culture and what things in art and music drew people in. And they were also sort of frustrated with the state of art and music and what was popular. And they had a very specific idea of what they wanted to do. And so simply they just started doing it. They got a group of friends together. They would form salons and discuss art and discuss theater and discuss performance and what brings people together and how people connect and why. And it just sort of took the character sort of was born out of those salons. They started performing in small little, what we call happenings around New York City.
Right.
And, and early on, it got some media coverage, and slowly people started to become aware of it. And it was really sort of bizarre and in the underground theater world when it first started, which gave it a lot of interest, and people were coming from all over to try and see this really unique theatrical experience. And it just grew from there. So from the very beginning, they were always interested in how to bring people together, how to connect people who come from very different backgrounds, and what makes people, what do people share? What is the common denominator of all, of humanity? And they have found this really wonderful recipe, and through the character. And it's just really a thrill to see. I have the pleasure of seeing it in action every night. I get to walk out on stage and see people
exactly, yeah,
all over the world. People who don't even speak English, or who, some people are deaf, or it really doesn't matter. The language is not a barrier with this show to bring people together. It's the experience that we all create together, and that's what draws people in. And it's just really a pleasure to see that happen night to night. So
now here's a question, Matt. So how do you think that it went viral? Before viral, in a different way.
Yeah.
This thing. What did the guys say that it just became this trend, and the Blue Man Group showed up everywhere? I forget what caused that craze that stays today.
Yeah. I don't know if there is one thing that there. I don't. Well, first of all, I don't think that was really ever a plan to make this become sort of a global phenomenon. I think it really was just an effort of these artists to figure out how to connect with people and how to express themselves through music and art and humor. And it really just caught on. I think sort of what I mentioned earlier about all people love to be in the presence of this character. Like when they experience a Blue Man show, it doesn't matter where you're from or who you are, what language you speak, you form a bond. There's something that's special that happens in the theater, in that space. And I think it's just a lot of it was word of mouth. I think a lot of it, of course, was media before the internet was really what the internet is now. And that's why it probably was such a slow burn, maybe, by our current standards of this thing spreading. But I think it really was just the fact that they tapped into something that is common in all of us, that desire to be a part of something special with strangers, connecting with strangers and realizing that language doesn't matter, that your culture doesn't matter, that where you're from and your upbringing, your socioeconomic status doesn't matter. All of those things fall away, and they leave feeling like, I can't believe I just experienced that with all of these people, So I think that's probably the special ingredient. But the how, I think, is just it was sort of a slow burn by our standards now. But I don't ever think that it was that was like a steamrolling goal of theirs. Like how can we get this to as many people as possible? It just was something that happened that way,
Exactly. And I remember, I forget what show in the first time I saw the Blue Man Group. And then when you experience anything from a YouTube to just watching them at the first time, it's just unlike anything else. And that's what your show is like. When people go and experience going to a Blue Man Group event, what there's tons of different things that they experience in that time period, right, of the performance, correct?
Yeah, there's music. There's a lot of video and lighting and special effect elements. There's certainly humor. I mean, it's all sort of based in the desire to make people laugh and feel lighthearted about the things that we're doing on stage. Even though some of the things we're doing on stage can be a little pointed at times. I mean, the character embraces all of the elements of our current pop culture, but it also sort of pokes fun at it and explores why are these things popular. I think the great benefit of this Blue Man character is that he's an outsider. This character is not part of our culture. We don't really define where the character is from or what he is. It's just very clear that he is not part of our culture, you know. And the benefit of that is that we can explore, as the character, we can explore all these things. We can explore pop culture, popular music, popular art, and at the same time, kind of poke fun at it and show the audience and sort of ourselves, like, is this worth all the attention? Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. Maybe we should put our focus here. Maybe we should play around with this. Maybe we should twist this and turn it on its head and discover something brand new that we hadn't seen before, you know? So when people walk into the theater, it should be a transformative experience. The space itself is very different than most theaters you walk into. There is a lot of video elements, you know, as the show progresses through the years.
Yes.
We, like I said, we take on the pop culture of the time. And so, you know, the internet and social media and iPhones and gadgets, that is now part of the fabric of our culture.
Yes.
And the Blue Men embrace that, and like I said, they'll kind of turn it on its head and poke fun of it and use it in a new, wonderful, creative way. You'll see music. Someone might be brought on stage. Another wonderful thing about the show, part of why I've been doing it for so long and still love it, is that we don't. There's no separation between the Blue Men and the audience. We will literally look directly at the audience and in their eyes. And in fact, we come off the stage and interact with them. And sometimes we'll bring someone up on stage to participate with us. So it's a really unique experience. And the point of that, I think it's a very important part of the show, that when people are a little uncomfortable, in a safe way, of course, but when they're a little uncomfortable and maybe not sure what to expect, they are in a position, I think, emotionally, to experience something new and have have their minds changed about something. And so we have a really unique experience to go into the audience. They get a little uncomfortable. We can actually possibly bring someone on stage. And then it's just, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens together.
Yes. Definitely.
And so it's really fun.
Absolutely. Some of your latest projects that are going on with the Blue Man Group. Tell us about those.
Yeah, you know, the shows in the city, we have many shows throughout the United States that are permanent sit-down productions. And those, you know, it's a lot of work to keep those shows running, but also to update the content. You know, like I said, the part of the show is to stay abreast with what's going on in popular culture. And so the show needs to adjust as pop culture changes. So part of the content, part of creating this new content and updating the shows means that we have to go to each city and update the content, bring in new equipment, write new music, all this sort of thing. So it can be a time-consuming thing, but we're constantly working on updating these shows to keep them relevant and fun, and to make sure that people, no matter where they're from and no matter what generation they're from, I think that's also important. The show appeals to kids who are glued to their devices as much as it appeals to, you know, their grandparents who may not understand what in the world their grandkids are doing with this phone in their hand. And so it's really a wonderful way to keep the shows relevant. And so to update these shows, of course, it takes a lot of work, and we're constantly doing that. We're constantly creating new material, writing new music, and systematically dropping them into the show. So it takes, I would say on average, every 4 years or so, there's a major update. But then every, there are several times, sometimes several times in 1 year that we get minor updates, just to keep the shows fresh and relevant and exciting. So those are the shows in the United States. We do have a world tour that is currently touring. It's on a little bit of a rest, but it starts back up in Tel Aviv. It's been in the East for a while, and now it's going to be going through, Western Europe, Italy. It's like I said, in Tel Aviv in August. It'll start back up, and it'll go through the UK and Switzerland and Turkey and Austria and all over. So that has been going for about a year now. And I believe it started in. It might have started in. I forget, but it went through China and it went through Australia and all of the Eastern countries. So that's happening. There's also a sit-down show in Berlin right now that has been running since.
Holy cow! Yeah.
Yeah, 2000, and it's been going since the early 2000s, and it's still going strong. So there's a lot of productions that we have to maintain and to keep up with. So it's really exciting.
So now there's a lot more Blue Man than there were before. Then Matt, correct? When they started. Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, casting is a big deal. Is that what you were going to ask about?
Yes.
How to cast these shows?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, it's really fun. It's an exciting process to cast Blue Men. It's a very unique audition. In fact, I just finished an 8-hour day yesterday auditioning potential new Blue Men, and it's unlike what most actors or performers experience in an audition. Just like our show is very unlike what most people experience when they go to the theater, they go to see a show. And so there's a lot of sort of improv-based exercises that we do when we cast them, and it's hard. Honestly, it's a difficult process finding the right performer who is versatile musically, but also has strong acting chops and is able to really embody this unique character. But they're out there, and we do find them, and so we're constantly casting. We're constantly auditioning. We audition all over the United States, but also abroad, and so it's just an ongoing process. Right? I think right now there are. I don't know. Each city has about 6 to 7 cast members, 6 to 7 blue men in each city. So that gives you a kind of a ballpark of how many active blue men are in the world right now. It's maybe 50 or so. And then we have a whole slew of people who have been blue men in the past and have moved on to other projects. But we keep track of so that we can use them in case of an emergency. If someone is injured or if, we have like a vacation crisis and suddenly we're short blue men, we'll draw upon what we call our bench blue men, which is also a pretty big network of people who we have trained and who know the character and that we can call on, but who aren't actively in a cast at the time.
I got you. Now, Matt, where would you rank yourself in Blue Men? They're the 3 you talked about, the originals. When did you come on board compared to them? That I'm just interested in learning that. Yeah.
Well, if you're asking me if I'm one of the best blue men in the entire world, then the answer is yes. No, I'm kidding. I think what you're asking is when I was hired in the timeline of the company.
Yes.
Is that what you're asking?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Veteran status. Yeah. Well, I was hired in 2000, so 17 years ago. I've been doing it for 17 years.
Holy cow! Okay.
And at that point, the show had already been going for many years. So in the time that I've been in the company, several of the more veteran blue men before me have left. And so, I mean, that's an interesting question. I think I'm one of the more veteran blue men still working in the company, but I'm certainly not like the first or second generation from the original.
I understand. Gotcha. And so now talking about tours, you talk about all these different performances all the time, all over the country, all over the world.
Yeah.
What about you and your tour? Do you go with the main group for touring? Like, what's the difference of seeing a performance in, let's say, as you talked about, another country compared to going out on your latest tour, the Blue Men? So is there different is it a different type of performance when you guys are going to bigger stages and stuff? Is that where you're traveling, Matt, to go?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm part of the New York City cast right now, so I'm okay. I don't travel around. I mean, part of the job might entail a lot of travel, and at one point years ago, I was on the North American tour, and I toured all over the United States with the show. But right now, I'm currently just a full-time member of the New York City cast. So I pretty much stay put unless I'm asked to go do a special gig somewhere or something like that. So back to your question, I think I understand. You're asking how different is a tour? If someone were to go see the show while it's on tour, how different is that from the sit-down show?
Exactly. I'm sorry, I'm throwing some different curveball questions, but I know our listeners from the great answers you've been giving us. I wanted to ask that for sure.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. It's a question that I think a lot of people have. So, the shows in the United States are very similar. We do have a show in Las Vegas, which of course we have to, it has to fit in Vegas. So it's much bigger. It's a lot flashier. There's a lot more technology and unique pieces that are only in that show. So if someone were to see a show in Las Vegas and then come to see the show in New York or Boston or Chicago or something, you would definitely understand that it is the same show. The character remains the same no matter where the character is, no matter what show the character is performing in. It's always the same character. That will never change. However, there are different pieces in different cities. So I would say in Las Vegas, you'll have probably a 30% different show than what you would see in New York. And on tour, it's kind of similar. It's maybe 30 to 40% different than what you would find in one of the shows in the United States. But like I said, you'll definitely recognize. It's not like you're seeing an entirely different show. The character is always the same. Many of the pieces are identical. They're just either produced to fill a bigger stage. But they're the same pieces some of the same music that we play in all of our shows, because they've been time tested, these are the ones that have great content and they're really funny, just really great piece of music. And so those kind of kernels of the show remain the same in any production that you're going to see.
All right. So you can check you out at blueman.com/New York for the tour in New York that you got for the where you perform. The cast performs in New York, but some cities aren't lucky enough to have Blue Man, so that's where you guys do a lot of the tours, right? The cities that already have everyday cast, they don't have to worry about it. So, for example, if you come to Pittsburgh doesn't have a Blue Man group. So you guys at one point will tour Pittsburgh then, right?
That's right. So we have a North American tour that has been, we don't tour year round. We have to, kind of give the market a rest, so to speak. And it's going to launch soon, and that is being updated with new content as well. So it is not currently running. However, it is in the works very soon to take off again. And, of course, that is the goal, exactly what you're talking about, is to bring the show to the areas that aren't near one of these sit-down shows. So, and just so your listeners can understand, there are sit-down shows in New York, in Boston, Chicago, Las Vegas, Orlando, those 5 in the United States, and Berlin in Europe. There is a world tour that is touring through Europe that I mentioned, and like we're talking about now, there's a North American tour that will start up again very soon with some updated content, and that tour will fill in it goes through North America, so it'll hit Pittsburgh, it'll hit the more rural areas in between, and sort of allow the rest of the country to experience the show.
And we're on all over the world too, so that's fantastic to bring those things up. So the best place people can go is